All right, y'all. Look, I'm at work today. Okay, that's just about ECG leads. That's nothing special. So we're going to do this. Who the hell are you, or who the fuck are you from the road today? I am down in Dothan, Alabama, doing a install for my day job, and we are going to have Frank come in and talk about his bid for the Area 7 area director role. So, like I do for all of these, the reason I do them live is so that you guys have a chance to ask questions. You can either push the little button down at the bottom, the little question mark, and then ask me a question that way, and I'll see it even at the end. It'll be there for me to pay attention to. Or you can ask a question in the comment section, and I'll scroll through and find a question. Frank is our last area director that I have, not have to, but that I've decided that we're going to do and have on. Just waiting for him to join us here. Here we go. So we'll get him added. Add you there. Go live. I think he's in a dungeon right now. Let's see. Where are you at? Should be joining any second now. There we go. Oh, I guess I can tip that back a little bit. All right. I got the circle of death. Frank, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
You there? Well, I can hear you. I can't see you. Did you turn off your camera, or is it switched flipping
Uh,
around, or did you turn the lights off?
Hold on.
We always have some sort of technical issue here. There he is.
There we go.
You got a couple years to go to get your beard just as excellent as mine, I think. You're getting there, though.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Frank. Well, welcome on. So you are running for the director role for Area 7. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I have that right at least. All right. So one of the questions I got here is just like, what do you do? What is your day job?
So my day job is I'm a supervisor for the New York City Transit Authority. I work in the subways. I I'm in charge of the A line basically. So I work
Oh,
midnights.
so you're a supervisor now. What did you do to get to the supervisor role? I imagine in New York there
Uh,
was a lot of handies and things like that.
Something like that. Yeah. I started off driving the train. So I was the engineer up front. So that's what I used to do. I
Okay.
did that
All
for
right.
5 years and I moved up to the supervisor. I've been a supervisor for the last 5 years.
Nice. Okay. All right. So you're running for Area 7. What does Area 7 entail?
So Area 7 is basically the northeastern states, every state from New York to Maine. There's New York,
New York.
Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Maine.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty well. I don't think that's the most amount of states for an area director. Probably a higher population than most places. But all right. So
Yes.
so how long have you been shooting in general? Just shooting.
So just shooting in general, I started shooting probably when I was 14. I started going hunting with my grandfather. So I've been shooting a while. Started competitive shooting once I joined the current club that I'm at, Colonial. So I started shooting. Basically, first thing I was able to get in New York City was a rifle shotgun permit, which is pretty foreign to everybody else in the rest of the country. We have to have a permit to have a
I
long
was
gun.
like,
Yeah. So I started
what?
shooting.
Yeah.
A what? Right? A what? Yeah. I think we're the only place in the country that has a permit system for long guns. So, but yeah, I started shooting NRA metallic silhouette, small bore silhouette, 22 silhouette, lever action, cowboy lever action. I basically got hooked on competition. So any match we had with a rifle, I signed up to shoot it. So, and then as soon as I was
It,
able to get my
it's
pistol permit,
it sounds like
yeah,
you went, the worst drugs possible. So you started off with like, something innocuous, and then now you're doing hard drugs of USPSA. So how did you end up shooting
absolutely.
USPSA?
So I started off once I was able to get a pistol permit. I started shooting bullseye because that's what was popular at the time. Um, yeah, so I started
When was
bullseye
this?
shooting. That was probably maybe 8 years ago.
Okay.
So I started, in the bullseye shooting, and a club runs a full and plate Bianchi Cup type match. So I started shooting the full and plate matches, got into that, and it was basically the same thing That's all I shot for a number of years until I finally got introduced to USPSA. There was another club on Staten Island that started shooting USPSA matches. So I signed up to give that a try. One of the guys from my club convinced me to give it a try, and boy, did I get hooked. So
Now you're stuck.
yeah, yeah. Now
All
I'm
right.
stuck.
All right. So you've been playing USPSA for how long then?
It was probably about 5 years ago I started, and I joined USPSA about 4 years ago. I didn't have
Oh, okay.
the correct equipment that I needed for USPSA, so I borrowed equipment and stuff the first few times that I shot it, and then I was like, this is really cool. So then I went out and bought what
So
I
what?
needed.
So what have you been doing? I mean, just like suddenly deciding to become an area director seems a little foreign to me. So what have you been doing within USPSA up to this point?
So once I got hooked, I said I happened to be the president of the club at that time. So I've been on the board for 12 years of my club, serving in various different positions, and then I moved up to president. I've been president for the last 6 years. So I was in a position where I could start a USPSA club at my home club. So I
Holy
was able
mackerel.
to, yeah. So not only did I get
Hold on. So
hooked,
you're the president of the
correct?
club on Staten Island for 6 years?
Yes.
Holy mackerel. I mean, that's got to be a lot of stress.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it.
Don't you guys have like a shopping center right on the other side of one of the berms or something like that?
Yes, we do.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. Okay.
funny enough, it's actually Target. Target is 600 yards away from our 200-yard line.
Okay. So 6 years ago, you became the president of the club, and
Correct.
then sometime in that frame time, or 5 years ago, you started shooting USPSA, and then
Yes.
you stood up a USPSA club there.
Yeah, so I started. So we never shot USPSA at our club. We never shot any really type of action pistol matches. So once I started shooting USPSA, I went before the board and I said, hey, listen, this is a growing sport. A lot of people are shooting these matches. I went to a couple of different matches in the area, and it was like, there's a lot of guys showing up to these matches, and it's a lot of fun. I was like, we need to do this. So I came up with a proposal. We didn't have really, honestly, we really didn't have the space to do it at the time. We didn't have any bays, or we had two sides of the club. We have a pistol side and a rifle side, and they
Yeah.
said, well, let's shut the whole club down. We could run two stages on one side, two stages on the other side. We have a shared firing line, and that was the biggest argument. We're a private club. It's a members only club, and they were like, you want to shut the whole club down and do what? I was
That had
like,
to be a
yeah,
fun conversation.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, it was definitely a fun conversation. So graciously, they allowed me to do that. So we tried it out. At the beginning, we didn't get a huge turnout, but we probably got about a good 40 shooters. And that was different for a lot of our members, having people from the outside who were not members come into our club. So that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, and after the first year, it started growing. 40, 50 people showing up. And I was like, hey, we can make this better. We have the property that's underutilized. So I was like, we could put in shooting bays, and one of our local members, he's an architect. I was like, hey, listen, help me out with this. We got all this land here. Let's do this. Let's build something here.
So
So
it sounds like you've got some experience in working with people to try to convince them to do what you need done.
that's correct.
Um,
That's definitely
so
correct.
other than standing that club up, do you have an RO certification? Have you worked any major matches?
Yes. So as soon as I came in and started the club, that was the first thing I said is like, hey, I probably need to be an RO if I'm going to be running matches. So, first thing that I set up an RO class and got a bunch of our guys take the RO class. And then as soon as I was able to, I became a CRO. So, for the last basically 5 years that we've been doing, 4 or 5 years, I've been the match director, running the matches. I worked nationals last year. So I was down in Talladega, which was an awesome experience. So
Okay.
I enjoyed doing that.
So how much I mean, you've been shooting the sport for 5 years. How much of Area 7 do you think you've actually made it out to?
I've been to New Hampshire. I've been out to Pioneer a couple of times for the area matches.
Hmm.
As far as other clubs in the other states, never made it out to. I pretty much stayed local, and also being in New York City, most of the closest clubs to my area, they're all Area 8 clubs in New Jersey,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania. That's the closest. I'm pretty much staying there. I travel out for the bigger matches. That's about
sure.
it. But now, hopefully, if I'm elected, I really want to get out to the other states. See some of the other clubs. Connecticut, Rhode Island, is a great club. Massachusetts. I want to get out there and see these other clubs and visit with them and hear what they have to say.
Yeah, I mean that would be kind of ideal to get out there and hear what they have to say. Not only just
Yes,
shooting their clubs, but trying to get an idea of what the rest of the area is like.
right.
So why do you want to be an area director?
So I want to be an area director because first and foremost, I want to represent the members of the area. I kind of felt like the past year or so, the board hasn't been listening to the members. With the recent bylaw changes and rules changes and all the different changes they've made, everyone I've talked to, when I was down in Alabama, I talked to a lot of different, everyday average members from all over the country, from my area, and everyone was in agreement. They didn't like the changes.
Hmm.
From what I heard, probably like 90% of the comments that the board got on the recent bylaw changes were all negative, and they were against the changes. Some of the changes were good, and I agree with, but overall, as a package, people were against those changes. And I don't think the board is listening to the membership, and which is why I'm running. I'm running to represent the areas, first and foremost, to represent the people in my area.
Okay.
So
So
that's really why I
how
want to be the area director.
so how do you see you collecting that information from the people in your area?
From a number of different ways. I think electronically nowadays is the easiest. Social media, it's very easy now to set up forums online to solicit feedback from members. We have the Area 7 group on Facebook. We have a lot of different means to do that. So I also wanted to set up a group with just the section coordinators and the match directors from my area. So I could hear from them directly. The people who run the matches, the guys on the ground in Area 7, I want to hear from them directly. Hey, what's going on? What are you guys thinking? Because a lot of people, the average member doesn't really care about what's going on in the organization. Let's be realistic. So I want to hear from those guys also. The guys that
Yeah.
just want to come out, shoot the local match, and go home. They really could care less what's going on with the organization. They should still have a voice. I still want to hear from them. So the only way to do that is talk to the guys who are with these guys all the time. Talk to the match directors, section coordinators, and get the feel for what the members want.
Well, I mean, along those lines, do you have any idea like of things that need to be improved in your area? Is that something that you think is there something in there that you want to work on while you're the area director?
One of the things I would like to see improved is helping out the match directors specifically. I speak on that, from experience, from a match
A
director
little.
experience. I started right from the ground up, and I learned everything the hard way.
Right.
The best way to run a match, the most efficient way to run the match, where to get supplies from, how to use practice score, where to get, I mean, literally from the ground up, I did everything by trial and error. And someone that wants to start a USPSA club at their club needs more support. They need help on how to do that.
So you got a little bit of
Rather than
firsthand
doing,
experience on how much is being done now. Try to give you
yeah,
ideas of things to do in the future.
yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. Um, so on somebody's comment here was about the section coordinator. So how many section coordinators does Area 7 have? Do you know?
I believe they have 3 section coordinators.
Three. Are they active? Because I mean, we had a section coordinator that wasn't active for like years.
The only section coordinator that I know of is active is my section coordinator, Kevin Driscoll. He's the section coordinator for the Metro East section. When I first started the club, he was the only person that I really had contact with, and thank God for him. Let me tell you, because he kind of like guided me and said, "Hey, you can't do this. Hey, you can't do that." There was a lot of "you can't do this" kind of thing, and
He
it was a
comes
learning experience.
comes zooming up on his little motorized cooler to slap you in the
It's a little
ankles,
cooler,
right?
yeah, yes, yeah. Kevin is absolutely awesome.
All
So.
right. So back to the area director role as far as the board of education or board of education, the board of directors goes. What qualifies you? What do you think you have for qualifications to take that on that role?
So I think being number one, first and foremost, being a match director actually help. Being able to gives the board feedback from what's actually happening on the ground, from what's actually happening with our members. So, and also, my current job of being a supervisor, I think would also assist me because I have a lot of people that report to me. Our train operators, conductors, tower operators, all these people report to me, and it's my job to educate them. That's first and foremost my duties. So I think my experience as a supervisor and working with people um, qualifies me to be the area director.
Okay. Um, let's see here. I've got what what would you say your goals to improve the organization is?
Well, I'd like to see the organization grow. Obviously, that's the best thing for every organization. We've experienced a lot of growth over the past couple of years, even since I've been a member. It's grown significantly. There've been a lot of changes to the different divisions. Carry optics being the most obvious one. A lot of changes to the carry optics division, which I wasn't too crazy about, honestly, but it is what it is. So,
Um, okay, so you want you I've
well,
lost my
right now, I'd like to, for right now, I hate to repeat what I heard somebody else say, but I'd like to see things stay exactly where they are for right now.
okay.
Um, honestly, I'd like to see the role of the president go back to what it was, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
So
Uh,
what do you think the role of the president was?
so the role of the president was obviously they run the meeting first and foremost. As every president,
Right.
they run the board of directors. They set the agenda. The president has to be. I don't think they have to be, but it's a good idea to be at all the area matches. Um,
Yeah.
you run the national match. I mean, it was sort of like a full time position.
Yeah.
Not quite, but just about a full time position. And the way they've created it now is, it's kind of like almost a full time position for part time pay. They set
For
it up
part-time
perfectly. Right, they set it up perfectly for someone who's retired. you know.
pay. Which isn't us yet, unfortunately.
Yes.
All right. So at this point, I only have a couple other questions to go. So if you guys are watching and you're actively watching and you've got a question for Frank, please go ahead and throw it down there in the comments or hit the little question button down there. And if it's appropriate and it's not about why he's wearing a hat, I'll definitely ask the question. So so we already talked about goals for the area. So um, how will you? Damn, I think I actually asked all of my questions. Jeezy Wheezy. About the last two I've got written down are about asking the area about their input, and then also what your goals to improve the area are. So I've got a question here. Thank God somebody's saving me for myself. So if you were to change any of the rules right now, you already stated you prefer the rules to stay the same. But if there was a rule that you were going to change, what would it be?
If there was a rule that I was going to change,
Yes.
um, to be honest, I'm sure it's not going to be popular. But being that I live in a 10 round state, I kind of like carry optics the way it used to be. I
Okay.
came in, I started shooting carry optics. That was my first division, and that's what I still shoot now. Um, and back then, it was basically a production gun, production rules with an optic on it, and
Well,
that's kind of the way how I liked it.
I'm not gonna lie, I liked it better at 10 rounds too, but I'm a bit of a masochist, so I might not be a good qualifier for your decision making. I did shoot
Right.
revolver until I made master, so uh
Yeah. That's one of the things that I mean, granted, most of the country there are no mag restrictions, there are no mag limits, but there are. I think it's 8 states in the country that are all 10 round states or 15 round states. Those states should be taken into consideration too. It's not our fault. That we live in communist states.
yeah, no
You know,
doubt. What
so
would
like the last. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead. What would your take
I
on
was
the
like the last classifier that came out. I shot it at nationals. What is it? 21 round, 20, right, 60, 24 rounds.
uh
And you got a high cap magazine in carry optics. You're able to do it without a reload. Here in New York, we can't do that without 2 reloads.
Oh,
You
come
know,
on. Carry optics classifier still being based on production means any production stage that has 12 rounds, you get an advantage anyway.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't even have to go that high. 12 rounds is an advantage. You don't have to go to 21.
that's true.
Um, so about, I'll ask the question because I've asked everybody else at this point. I guess is the single action carry optics thing. Is that like something you think would be okay or not okay, or what's your opinion on that?
I am not in favor of it. Honestly, I don't think a single action only gun belongs in the division. Um, I got into an argument with somebody recently, matter of fact, on Instagram. They're like, dude, you shoot at shadow, which is basically, after the first shot, it's single action. It's like, yeah, okay, but the first shot is still double action.
Basically, it still doesn't qualify.
Basically, still exactly. It's a double action gun. So I don't think it belongs in there. But that being said, if the majority of the members say that this is what they want, if they want single action and carry optics, then I'll vote for it. Even though I'm against it, I don't particularly like it. If I get most people say, hey, listen, you're wrong, we want single action, then okay, then I would vote for it. Like I said, I want to do what I want there to represent the members. If this is what the members want, then that's what I'll vote for. Even if I don't personally agree with it, if the large majority of members, if that's what they want, then I would vote for it.
Okay. All right. Well, I have some weird questions on here that are about other people. We're trying to have Frank talk about Frank, so we're not going to have Frank talk about other people. Um, what do you think about? I guess the question is along the lines of: are there any other rules that you would want to roll back? Such as like it seems like they're asking about production rules and flashlights and things like that.
I mean, I think they're fine. Honestly, I didn't like the fact that I didn't like the fact the way they did those rule changes. What was it? A couple of weeks before nationals, they come out with the flashlight rule and the different position and holster and mag. That's wasn't the way to do it.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have a rule change, I think we need to put it out there to the members first. You
Well, I
know,
think they've definitely did a good job with that with the bylaw changes as far as
right?
fixing that.
Exactly. That was
Yeah.
definitely one of the things that I really liked as far as the bylaw changes. So I think they did a pretty decent job changing that now.
All right. Well, Frank, I am out of questions. Somebody asked about your opinion on classifier stages, but I don't understand that question myself. So, is there anything left that you want to talk about as far as your bid for Area 7?
No, not really. I mean, no matter what happens, I'm still going to support the area. I will still be there. I'm still going to go out and work matches. So, this is, nothing personal against anyone else. So, I will still be there. I'm still going to run matches. I'm still going to get out to the other clubs in the area. So I want to do whatever I can to help the organization, help the members. I've also, oh, by the way, as you know, Bill, I didn't mention this. I also started along with the president of the other club on Staten Island. We did a level 2 championship match. So we were able to do a major match in Staten Island, which is in the confines of New York City, for those who don't know.
Have you made a decision on that being more than the current days?
No, we have not made that
Okay.
decision yet.
All right. Well, look, we'll talk more about that when that happens. That way we can try to
Yes,
fill it up for you. All right, Frank. Well, listen. So the voting is ongoing. It started
yes.
last week, so it's ongoing now. So if you like what Frank has to say, please go to uspsa.org/vote. Area 7, click on Frank and go ahead and vote for him. We have, when does that end? Middle of next month, right?
The middle of next month, I believe July 16th
July
is the
16th.
last day.
Right. So you got a little bit of time to make a decision. There's more information on uspsa.org. Frank's got his own information out there as well. So shoot a message, ask him some questions if you got something to ask. Otherwise, voting is ongoing. Good luck, Frank. I'll see you on the other
Thanks.
side of the voting.
You got
Take
one
it
last
easy.
thing, Bill.
Oh, yeah. What's up?
So I believe I'm the last person that you're interviewing. Is that correct?
Yes, you are the last victim.
I'm the last victim. So I just wanted to personally thank you for doing this. I think it's great. So everyone can get out there and, say what they have to say. People can learn more about them. I got to hear from the guys from Area 4, so this is a great thing. I just want to thank you very much. And also thank you for all your support of the shooting sports and everything you do also. Everyone doesn't know, but if Bill does a lot of work for the sport. He was at my match in Staten Island. He set up the live scoring. He was instrumental in getting that match run as smooth as it did. So thank you very much for everything that you do. I appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. Thanks, Frank. It's actually really funny when I have you guys on here because a lot of people don't have to communicate live very much these days. So having them on
Yeah,
a platform where they got to answer questions that they weren't prepared for is very interesting sometimes. So, but well done.
I'm
And like
sure
I
it is.
said, yeah, well done and good luck and good decision on putting the hat on. There's a lot less
Thanks.
glare.
Yes.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Take care, Bill. Thank you.
Bye.